Bob, what did Tiger have to say about his relatively uneventful round one?
Yeah, right. It was pretty uneventful, but he was happy with it. I think he judged it based on how he hit the ball mostly. Obviously, he would have liked to have scored a little bit lower. 69 was probably the worst he could have shot, actually. He didn't birdie any of the par fives and had three birdies. No bogeys is a good thing. But that course, the North Course here at Torrey Pines, is not the hardest. He probably wishes he were a little bit lower.
Yeah, no birdies on the par fives, which is unusual for him. What changes, if any, did you notice in him compared to 2010?
Well, he just seems to be a lot more comfortable standing over the ball. I mean, these are the things he's been working on since he started working with Sean Foley, a swing instructor based in Orlando. They started together at the PGA Championship, and you know, there have been some growing pains. It's a tough deal to change your swing, even for a guy as talented as Tiger. And he's slowly but surely getting more comfortable with it and sort of looks a lot more at ease than he did, you know, certainly last summer.
He tees off at 1 p.m. Eastern today from the South Course. What do you expect from him today there?
I would be surprised if he didn't have a good score today. You know, he loves the South Course. This is where he's made his money over the years at this tournament. You know, he has not shot over par at Torrey Pines since 2003. There's been 47 or 48 pro rounds here, and only 3 of them have been over par. I mean, he's just, no matter how he's playing, no matter where his game is at, he seems to handle this place very well. So I think it'd be surprising if he didn't do well again today.
Bob Harig, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Back over to First and 10 for more golf with Jay and the guys.
All right, Julie, thank you very much. And we're going to ask Bob to stay on the line because he's going to help us out with our last topic in First Down, which is, you just heard, 69, 3 under par. He's 5 shots off the pace. No birdies on the par fives. Let's grade Tiger's round. What would you give Tiger for his first round? Bob, you can start.
Well, I think I'd give him a C. You know, Tiger has such high expectations. We hold him to those high expectations, and you know, frankly, it was pretty average. You've pointed out the no birdies on the par fives. That's a big negative. There was positives, no bogeys, but when Tiger doesn't take care of the par fives, that's a big negative for him, and actually it was a big negative for him most of last year.
Skip, what do you give him?
I want to say that I'm very proud of Bob for giving him a C. Bob, I thought you might go B+, A-, sort of the good old days Tiger, but I'm with you on this. I'm going to go C, and I'm grading on the pre-scandal Tiger curve. And I want to point out, it's not like last year Tiger suffered a physical injury. It was an emotional, psychological
Well, but in
injury.
golf, isn't that bigger than a physical injury, Skip?
I suppose so, because this is my question back to Bob. The shock to me last year is that Tiger Woods, on the par fives that we just spoke of, lost his swagger, his dominance, his confidence, his stranglehold, because we go back to a couple of years ago, he led the tour with 57% birdie rate on the par fives. Fell off last year to 45%. In the good old Tiger days, yesterday on a fairly easy North Course, we would have expected two-putt birdies and 2 eagles, because he would have made a couple of the putts, right? So that's -6. And unfortunately, he was -0 because he was even par on the 4 par fives. I can't figure out why the Tiger who owned the par fives is now intimidated by the par fives.
Yeah, it is weird. Bob, what's your answer to that?
Well, there's the factors in his game are letting him down on those holes. I mean, you got to drive it in the fairway. And he didn't do that on any of the par fives yesterday. So he didn't give himself a chance to get to those greens in 2, to have the 2-putt birdies or even the look at eagle. And then, even though he was able to put himself in position to perhaps get up and down for a birdie, he was very poor inside 100 yards yesterday. He seems to be having issues hitting his wedges close to the hole. And that just could be the fallout from spending so much time on his long game. His short game, or maybe his wedge game, has suffered a little bit, and his putting is not quite the way it's been. I mean, the guy was money forever on the greens, and he's not making the big putts or even the putts that we just got used to him making all the time. He hasn't done that so far.
Yeah. Bob, you obviously remember Tiger Woods' 08 Torrey Pines U.S. Open. there would be times on the South course he would hit it into the next fairway on the par 5s and still wind up with an eagle putt because he would hit the most sensational recovery shot we've ever seen. Now it looks like he's lost his faith in even hitting recovery shots from lies that are just off the fairway.
Well, I'll just go to yesterday. A couple of times he really just didn't have a shot. One time he was behind a tree. He really had no choice but to just punch it down the fairway. Another time he actually hit a pretty good recovery shot. He was just too far away from the green. It was the 18th hole, his 9th, and then he left himself in a bad spot and had a really hard chip to get it close. You're right, in 08 here it was magic. I mean, he probably didn't have any business winning the tournament based on where he hit the ball, but hit the most amazing recovery shots. And the guy was just incredible around the greens. If you remember on the Saturday, he had 2 eagles on the back 9. He chipped in for a birdie. It's just, the kind of stuff that you can't always expect him to do.